Hey there, welcome back to Magic Stringworks. So today is the second part of the double Jimi Hendrix Stratocaster feature. So this one is the 1997 Jimi Hendrix Strat in Olympic White. And you'll notice that we have a left-hand body and a left-hand headstock, but the logo is a mirror image. So this is actually a mirror image guitar. So it's strung up for a righty. So this is the 6th string. So just like Jimi Hendrix played a right-hand guitar upside down, this would be a left-hand guitar being played upside down by a right-handed player. So I'm a little confused, but that's okay. So the owner wants me to do a setup and float this bridge. He wasn't successful trying to do it himself. And I'm going to use my trusty tongue depressor here, or popsicle stick, at 1/16. Now, some people will do 1/8 of an inch. 1/16 is what I find is better. Gives you about a semitone, and there's less tuning issues. But it's easy enough to do. You can swap this stick out for something that's 1/8 of an inch thick. So when you put it under the bridge, you get 1/8 of an inch gap. And you'll see when I do it here. But I'm not going to make a long video on this. I just did one on the VooDoo Strat. So this will just be a real quick one. But yeah, there's that hidden truss rod access again. Gotta hate that. Alright, let's get started. So when you're working on a Strat, when you want to float the bridge, it's very important that when you do a string change that you use the same strings. Now, you can change the gauge of the string. So these are 10 to 46s, and that's what I'm going to put on here. So I have these D'Addarios. But if you go to something lighter or something heavier, then that's going to change your setup. So you might find that you had 10s and then you put 9s on your floating bridge, and all of a sudden everything's out of tune, everything's kind of weird. It's because of that. So it's important, it's very mindful that you do that, especially when you float the bridge. So again, we're going to put the same gauge strings that's on here. So because we have 10 to 46s, and these are a little used up, but they're not horrible, I'm actually going to do like a setup, a rough setup, see where we are with this guitar when I lift the bridge up a little bit, and then once I change the strings, we'll be able to just see if it stayed, if it sort of stayed in that setup. You never know. So first thing first here is I'm going to put this trem arm in, and you might know this already, but Stevie Ray Vaughan changed his trem. He put a left-hand trem on his guitar so that, because he liked the whammy bar closer to his body, didn't like it down hanging there. So his guitar has the whammy bar here at the top. So what I'm going to do is take this 1/16 spacer, I'm going to lift up the bridge with the whammy bar. I'm going to put that spacer under there, and I'm going to take the bar off. Now, it has good tension, it's not moving anywhere, so that's good. So that means the spring tension is pretty good. Now I can do a little setup and see where this is. So I've just tuned this up to pitch, but what's happened is the string tension has loosened my spacer, of course, right? So that means I have to tighten the springs down below. So I'm going to detune a bit, and then we'll tighten those springs up so that really sucks down to the body. Okay, so we have 3 springs, and I like them when they're straight in line like that. Very nice. And the previous VooDoo had a broken little tooth on this claw, but these all 5 are there the way they should be. So what we want to do is we want to tighten that spring tension. So I'm going to get in here, and you want to make it equal. just going to get this so that it's parallel here. That looks pretty good. That should be enough. Of course, I can't lift that with my fingers. We need to put the trim arm back in. And it's important that this bridge is locked down and doesn't move, because you need to do your setup in that position. So I'm going to get this back under there. Okay. I'll leave that in for the moment. I'll retune. And we'll see how we did. Might help if I plugged it in, right? Just going to get a rough tuning so we're close. You'll actually know if this is not, if the springs aren't tight enough, because you just can't get it to stay in tune. Okay, we're good. Okay, I can lift it up a little bit. Yeah, so I'm probably going to tighten that down a bit, but we're close. So I'll just give it a couple more turns on the spring tension. Alright, so we're nice and tight. It's not doing anything. And I can't lift it up. So that's good. Alright. Okay, so we're in tune, so we can check the initial setup. So I'll support the neck here at the 7th fret. I'm going to put a capo on the 1st. I'm going to tighten that up a bit. And we're going to measure the neck relief. So I like to, push down here at the last fret. I like to see between 8 and 10 thousandths at the 7th fret, so I'll use a feeler. Yeah, that's 8 goes under there pretty easily. Yeah, 9 scraping, so that's nice. So we're at about 9 thousandths. I like that. And the string height. So Fender spec is 4/64 at the 17th fret. So I'll use my string height gauges. So I'm going to grab the 4/64 or 1.6 mil. You can buy these string gauges, of course, at my website, magicstringworks.com, if you're so inclined. Shameless plug. So 4/64 is 1.6 mil at the 17th fret. You can just hear it scraping. Setup is pretty good on this. Maybe the 6 strings a touch high, but barely. So, I mean, that tells me right off the bat that the setup is good. I'm going to just check it here with the string action ruler. And just put it in the playing position like that. I'll just check. So yeah, it's just a little over 4. 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, and 4 and a bit. So nice. That's good. That's very good action for a Fender Stratocaster. So normally on a brand new guitar like this, I would say 18 thousandths at the 1st fret is a good number. And yeah, that's just barely getting under there. Now this is an older guitar. It's from 1997, so it's been used. I'm not surprised if the fret has been worn down. It's probably around 15 thousandths. Yeah, that sounds about right. Maybe a little tighter here on the D string. But as long as there isn't any buzzing, yeah, that's good. So you can check also by pressing on the 3rd fret here and then just bouncing the string. You want just a little bit of space, not a ton. But yeah, that nut action is pretty decent, so we're going to leave that alone. So I'll just check the intonation the way it is. It looks, looking at the bridge, I see decent intonation, at least it looks like it. So E, harmonic, that's pretty good. B, harmonic, that's good. G, Tune it up a bit. A little sharp. Tuning's a little sharp, but that's not bad. D. Yeah, a little sharp, but the tuning sharp, and the strings are old. So that's good. Look at that E. Tuned up. Yeah, so overall, not too bad. I think it was just the G there, right? A little bit. Okay, so I did have a comment about pickup height and intonation. So, person was saying that you need to do your pickup height before you do the intonation because it affects the intonation. Okay, that's very possible. I'm going to check the pickup height. So again, using my pickup gauges here. So bass side, I like to see 1/8 of an inch. So about 3.2 mils, and then 664, so about 2.4 mils on the treble side. So let's push down the last fret. Yeah, so that's good. You want it just to pass underneath. So like here on the neck pickup, I would drop that one down just a little bit. Again, these are the same gauge strings, so I know that the setup is going to be should be pretty much the same. There we go. Okay, so that's a consideration. I mean, if you do this first, and honestly, I haven't had any complaints or anybody mention that to me before, but I don't think it's a bad idea to do the intonation. Do the pickup heights before you do the intonation, because then that'll give you maybe a truer reading from your pickup. Generally, the pickup's for output, but not for tuning. But if the pickup is too close, you could have some strange things going on, which will make it difficult to tune your guitar. So I like the pickups the way they are there. So basically, if you set your pickups to where you want them, and then you set up your guitar and intonate it, then it's fine. It's going to be good. If you change the pickups after, or the pickup height after you've intonated guitar, maybe that'll affect the intonation. I mean, honestly, I haven't had a complaint about it, but doesn't mean it doesn't happen even minutely. So why not be consistent and do it the same way every time, the way you want to do it, right? It's always about that. Okay, I think we're ready. So the setup is really nice actually on this guitar the way it is. I'm going to take these strings off, clean it up, and then put the new strings on, and we'll make sure that our tension is good on our tremolo, and we should be done. I'm going to use 400 and 1036. This means they're freaking frets up. So just get a little boom, like polish. This is a slightly rough guitar to use. So take it out. This guitar has definitely seen more playing wear than the other one. Some chips and the lacquer on the fretboard, right where your nails would be. The back has a few dings on it. But otherwise, I like this neck a lot. Really good feel to it. Really fast sort of neck. Vintage radius, 7.25 inches. Good little wear on this end too. Okay, well I think we're ready for some strings in a minute. Oh, just as a point of comparison with the previous guitar, the other one that the owner had, like the fret ends are much nicer on this one, and these have rolled edges. The other guitar didn't have rolled edges like that. You can see the edges are nice and rounded over a bit. Very comfortable. And no fret sprout at all. So, of course, I have to double check here, right? Because this is an upside down guitar. So this is the 6th string, and it should be, when you're playing it as a right-handed, that way. Where normally this would be the 1st string, right? So, yeah, I'm okay. Good. Okay, so all strung up, not tuned up, but you can see that this bridge is still tight and solid there, so that's good. String stretcher, string stretcher. I don't know why, but I'm really liking this thing. Okay, always let it sit, so I'm going to let this sit for a few hours or overnight. Then I'll do a final check on the intonation. The setup should be good. We didn't change anything. Yeah, I might just lower that 6th string a little bit. But other than that, so just I'll double check the intonation, and then as long as we're floating, we're good. Okay, we're next day here with this Jimi Hendrix mirror image right hand Stratocaster, and so we're tuned up. I'm going to double check the tuning, but we've set the string action to 464, so about 2 millimeters at the 17th fret. The neck relief is nice at around 9 thousandths of an inch, and the nut action's around 16 thousandths, which we're not going to change. Everything's fine. I have set the pickup height to what I like. So I like to see about 1/8 of an inch, so about 3.2 millimeters on the bass side, and 6/64, 3/32, you know, about 2.4 mils on the treble side. So that's set. So those of you who are concerned about the intonation being affected, we're going to do the intonation now. So I'm going to check here. I'll just show you a couple strings here, but let's see what we got. There's the E, so the first string, harmonic, and the fretted note, maybe a touch sharp. So let's, again, don't forget we have our spacer stick still in there, so we're going to lengthen the string a little bit. And I'll just detune a touch. We're going to pull back this saddle, retune. It's pretty good. Harmonic. That's good, I like that. So the B, harmonic, fretted note, nice. So I'll go along, do all 6 strings, and once it's done, we're going to float this bridge afterwards. Okay, I've got the intonation set up as close as I think I can get it here at the 12th fret. Now let's not forget, doing the intonation at the 12th fret is sort of averaging the intonation. If you want to check how your guitar is intonated, I mean, do the 5th string, so the 5th fret, sorry, there's an A, and we're going to do the 17th. That's pretty good. E, that's pretty good. Let's see, we're tuning. Our tuning's a little off here. C. Yeah, so maybe a touch sharp on the G string. But it's fine at the 12th fret. So, I mean, that's a good way of testing your guitar. You can do it at the 5th and the 17th, the 7th and the 19th. That gives you an idea of the overall intonation of your guitar. Alright, so to float this guitar bridge here, all we have to do is back off the springs. Back the springs off a little bit at a time, until our spacer falls out or becomes really loose. So, you know, just an equal amount of turns. Magnetized there, it's sticking. And, you know, it's going to take a little more than that. It's getting loose. A little bit more. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Spacer out. Still in tune. And we can flatten the notes. We can sharpen the notes. Still in tune, so there we go. Floated. I might have showed it in the last video, but I didn't show it in this one, but I really like the neck plate with the Jimi Hendrix profile. That looks good. So I'm going to button this one up. I'm going to put that back plate back on and we're all done. So thanks again for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Alright, bye for now.